My name is Sabrina Hayes, and I am 34 years old, an ER nurse and a single mother. 3 weeks ago, at my sister's wedding, in front of 250 guests, she grabbed the microphone and said, "My sister is a single mother, unwanted by anyone." The room laughed. My mother chimed in from her table, "She's a used product." My father covered his mouth to hide his smirk. My 6-year-old son, Leo, was sitting right beside me, his small hand gripping mine, his eyes wide with confusion as he watched everyone laugh at his mother. But there was one person who did not laugh. And what he did next changed everything. Before I tell you the rest, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely want to hear this story. Where are you watching from? What time is it there? Drop a comment and let me know. To understand how things got to that point, I need to start from the beginning. Growing up in our 4-bedroom colonial in Wellesley, Massachusetts, I learned early that there were 2 types of daughters in the Hayes household, the princess and the workhorse. Vanessa was the princess. For years younger, blonde like our mother, with the kind of effortless charm that made teachers forget about late assignments and boys forget about other girls. From the moment she could walk, she was Daddy's little angel and Mommy's mini-me. Me? I was the responsible one, which in Hayes family code meant I was the one who did not need attention because I could handle things on my own. When prom came around, Vanessa got a $600 Sherry Hill gown, blush pink, hand-beaded, the kind that made other girls gasp when she walked into the venue. When my prom came 2 years earlier, my mother had looked at me over her reading glasses and said, "Sabrina, you do not need all that. You are the simple type. It suits you." I wore a dress from the clearance rack at Macy's. $72. I still remember the price because I had saved my babysitting money to buy it myself. Our bedrooms told the story too. Vanessa had the corner room with the balcony overlooking the garden, white furniture, fairy lights strung across the ceiling like something out of a magazine. My room was at the end of the hall next to the utility closet, furnished with hand-me-downs from our grandmother's estate. I did not hate Vanessa for any of it. How could I? She was just a kid benefiting from a system she did not create. But I did wonder sometimes, late at night, what I had done wrong. What fundamental flaw existed in me that made my own parents look right through me? I did not know then that this pattern would follow me all the way to her wedding day. I met Kevin at 26 during my 3rd year as an ER nurse at Mass General. He was a pharmaceutical sales rep, charming, confident, the kind of man who made you feel like the only person in a crowded room. We married a year later. My parents attended the wedding, but spent most of the reception talking about Vanessa's upcoming internship at a prestigious PR firm in Manhattan. "She is going places," my mother kept telling the guests. "Both my girls are doing well, but Vanessa, she is something special." At my own wedding reception, the marriage unraveled faster than I could have imagined. Kevin had a gift for making me feel small, questioning my choices, criticizing my appearance, isolating me from friends. By the time I discovered he was sleeping with his regional manager, I was 8 months pregnant and had lost most of my sense of self. The divorce was finalized when Leo was 15 months old. I was 29, alone, working night shifts while my son slept at a daycare that charged by the hour. My mother's response to the news? A long sigh, followed by, "I always worried you did not know how to keep a man happy. Vanessa would never let this happen to her." My father said nothing. He never did. Vanessa texted me once during the whole ordeal, "That sucks, but honestly, you always pick the wrong guys. Maybe try therapy." No offer to help. No checking in on Leo. No acknowledgement that I was drowning. I did not need their pity. I told myself that every night as I heated up instant noodles after a 12-hour shift, Leo asleep in his crib in our cramped 1-bedroom apartment. I just needed them to stop treating my pain like entertainment. Jonathan Mercer entered the picture 2 years before the wedding. Vanessa met him at a charity gala, some black tie event benefiting foster children. He was a children's rights attorney, the kind who took pro bono cases for families who could not afford representation. Handsome in a quiet way, with kind eyes and a habit of actually listening when people spoke. The first time I met him was at a family dinner at my parents' house. Vanessa had been dating him for 3 months and wanted to show him off. He shook my hand, noticed Leo hiding behind my legs, and immediately crouched down to the boy's level. "Hey, buddy, I like your dinosaur shirt. Is that a T-Rex?" Leo had beamed. No one in my family ever paid him that kind of attention. Throughout the dinner, I caught Jonathan watching the family dynamics with a lawyer's observant eye. The way my mother redirected every conversation back to Vanessa. The way my father laughed at Vanessa's jokes, but barely acknowledged mine. The way I automatically cleared the dishes while Vanessa remained seated, checking her phone. Later, as I was loading my car, Jonathan appeared beside me. "Does your family always treat you like that?" he asked quietly. I was so startled I almost dropped Leo's diaper bag. "Like what?" "Like you're invisible." I forced a laugh. "That is just how we are. Vanessa is the star. I am the supporting cast." He did not laugh, just nodded slowly, something unreadable in his expression. "You are a good mother," he said. "Leo is lucky to have you." Then he walked back inside. I did not understand why those words made my eyes sting, or why, for weeks afterward, I kept replaying that brief conversation in my head. The wedding invitation arrived in a cream envelope with gold calligraphy, so thick and expensive it felt more like a royal summons than an invitation. "Vanessa Marie Hayes and Jonathan James Mercer request the pleasure of your company." The venue was the Whitmore, a 5-star hotel in Boston with a ballroom that had hosted senators, celebrities, and at least one minor European royal. 250 guests. Estimated budget, $180,000, funded entirely by my parents. For context, when I got married, my parents contributed exactly $2,500 and complained about it for months afterward. The invitation came with conditions. Vanessa called me 2 weeks before the wedding. "Sabrina, I need to discuss some things." "Of course. What is up?" "First, please wear something understated. Pastels or neutrals only. I do not want anyone drawing attention away from me." I had planned to wear a deep green dress I had been saving for. "Okay, I can do that." "Second," she paused. "Do you really have to bring Leo? He is 6. He will probably get fussy and ruin the ceremony." "Vanessa, I do not have anyone to watch him. Kevin is not in the picture." "Fine," she cut me off. "But keep him quiet. And you will be at a table in the back, so you can take him out quickly if he makes a scene." The morning of the wedding, my mother called. "Sabrina, I have spoken with the event coordinator. You and the boy are at table 23 near the service entrance. Do not make a fuss about it. This is Vanessa's day, and we cannot have any distractions." Distractions. That is what my 6-year-old son was to them. I should have seen it then. The setup, the positioning, the careful orchestration of my humiliation. But I did not. I just wanted to survive the day. The Whitmore ballroom was breathtaking. Soaring ceilings dripping with crystal chandeliers, white roses cascading from every surface. A string quartet playing Vivaldi in the corner. The kind of wedding you see in bridal magazines, the kind that makes guests whisper about how lucky the couple must be. I wore a dove gray cocktail dress I had found on sale. Modest, forgettable, exactly what Vanessa had demanded. Leo looked adorable in his little navy vest and khakis, his hair neatly combed, clutching my hand as we walked into the overwhelming grandeur. "Mommy, it's so pretty," he whispered, eyes wide. "It is, baby. Let us find our table." Table 23 was exactly where my mother had promised. Tucked in the far corner, half hidden behind a pillar, so close to the kitchen doors I could hear the catering staff shouting orders. The other guests at our table were distant cousins I had met maybe twice in my life. No one from my immediate family came to greet us. I watched as my parents made their grand entrance. My mother in champagne Valentino, my father in a perfectly tailored Armani suit. They worked the room like politicians, hugging, laughing, accepting compliments about their beautiful daughter. Singular daughter. Vanessa swept in 40 minutes later in a Vera Wang gown that probably cost more than my annual rent. She was radiant, glowing, every inch the princess she had always been. Her eyes found me across the room. She smiled, but it was not warm. It was the smile of someone who has already won and wants you to know it. On her way to the head table, she stopped at ours. "Sabrina, you came." "Of course I came. You are my sister." She glanced at Leo, then back at me. Just remember what I said about keeping him quiet." Then she was gone, swallowed by a crowd of admirers. I caught a notification flash across my mother's phone, left carelessly on a nearby table. "Remember the plan?" My stomach tightened, but I told myself it was nothing. The ceremony was beautiful. Vanessa cried delicately, perfect tears, as she exchanged vows with Jonathan. My parents beamed from the front row. The guests dabbed at their eyes with monogrammed handkerchiefs. I sat in the back, Leo on my lap, and tried to feel something other than hollow. During the cocktail hour, the photographer gathered the family for portraits. I started to stand, smoothing down my dress, when my mother appeared with a tight smile. "Just the immediate family for this set, Sabrina. I am her sister. We are doing a smaller grouping first. You understand." I understood. I always understood. Leo tugged at my sleeve. "Mommy, why can't we be in the picture?" "We will take our own pictures later, sweetheart." Smile for Mommy. I held up my phone and snapped a photo of him, trying to ignore the burning behind my eyes. At the reception, I watched from our distant table as aunts and uncles I had known my whole life approached the head table to congratulate Vanessa and Jonathan. Not one of them stopped by to say hello to me. "Sabrina, is that you?" Aunt Linda, my mother's sister, paused on her way to the bar. She looked uncomfortable. "I almost did not see you back here." "The seating chart is creative," I said, forcing lightness into my voice. She glanced toward the head table, then back at me. Something like guilt flickered across her face. "Patricia has always had her preferences." "I am sorry, honey." Before I could respond, she was gone. I noticed Jonathan's friend Michael setting up his phone on a small tripod at the edge of the dance floor, angled toward the stage. Probably live streaming for relatives who could not attend. I did not think much of it then. I had no idea that phone would become the most important witness to what happened next. The clinking of silverware against crystal silenced the room. The MC, a polished man in a three-piece suit, stepped up to the microphone. "Ladies and gentlemen, the bride would like to say a few words." Applause rippled through the ballroom as Vanessa rose from her seat, radiant in the glow of a dozen spotlights. She took the microphone with practiced ease, her Cartier bracelet catching the light. "Thank you all so much for being here," she began, her voice honey-sweet. "This is the happiest day of my life, and I am so grateful to share it with everyone I love." She smiled at Jonathan, who watched her with an expression I could not quite read. "First, I want to thank my incredible parents. Mom, Dad, you have given me everything. Your love, your support, your belief in me. I am who I am because of you." My mother pressed a hand to her heart, tears already forming. My father nodded proudly. "And I want to talk about family," Vanessa continued, her tone shifting slightly. "About what family really means. About the lessons I have learned from watching everyone." Her eyes swept the room and landed on me. The warmth in her expression cooled. "Especially my sister." Leo perked up beside me. "Mommy, Aunt Vanessa is talking about you." "I know, baby." "Shoo." But something in Vanessa's smile made my blood run cold. It was not affection. It was not gratitude. It was anticipation. "Sabrina, could you stand up?" Vanessa called out, her amplified voice bouncing off the chandeliers. "I want everyone to see you." 250 faces turned toward our corner table. My legs felt like they were filled with concrete, but I stood. Leo looked up at me, confused. "There she is," Vanessa said, her smile widening. "My big sister, the one who taught me so many valuable lessons about life. See, my sister Sabrina is a single mother." The words hung in the air, sharp and deliberate. A few guests shifted uncomfortably. Vanessa's smile did not waver. She got married young, had a baby, and then, well, things did not work out. She tilted her head in mock sympathy. Her husband left her. Could not handle it, I guess. And now she is alone. Scattered, nervous laughter from the crowd. I felt my face flush hot. "My sister is unwanted," Vanessa continued, her voice carrying a theatrical sigh. "No man wants her. I mean, can you blame them? She has got baggage now. A kid, bills, that whole mess." More laughter. Bolder this time. A few of Vanessa's sorority sisters at a nearby table giggled into their champagne. I could not move, could not breathe. Then, from the head table, my mother's voice rang out clear as a bell. She is a used product. The room erupted. 250 people laughing. My mother laughing. My father covering his mouth, shoulders shaking with barely contained amusement. I looked down at Leo. His small face was crumpled with confusion, his eyes darting between me and the laughing crowd. Mommy, his voice was tiny scared. Why is everyone laughing at you? I could not answer. My throat had closed completely. I saw the notes in Vanessa's hand, typed, prepared, rehearsed. This was not a spontaneous joke. This was planned, scripted, a coordinated attack disguised as a wedding speech. But you know what Vanessa was saying? Riding the wave of laughter. Sabrina taught me a valuable lesson. She showed me exactly what not to do with my life. So really, I should thank her. She raised her champagne glass toward me. To Sabrina, my cautionary tale. The guests raised their glasses. Some were still laughing. Others looked uncomfortable but said nothing. And my 6-year-old son watched his mother become a punchline. Vanessa was not finished. You know, growing up, everyone always asked why Sabrina and I were so different. She set down her champagne, pacing the stage like a performer, hitting her stride. Same parents, same house, same opportunities. But Vanessa succeeded and Sabrina, well. She gestured vaguely in my direction. I used to feel bad about it. Poor Sabrina, always struggling. Poor Sabrina, cannot keep a man. Poor Sabrina, stuck in that sad little apartment with her sad little life. My mother nodded along, dabbing at her eyes, but they were not tears of sympathy. They were tears of laughter. But then I realized, Vanessa continued, some people are just meant to be warnings, not examples. And my sister, she is the best warning I could ask for. Applause. Actual applause. I felt Leo's hand tighten around mine. His whole body was trembling. Mommy, I want to go, he whispered, his voice cracking. I know, baby. I know. But my legs would not move. I was frozen, pinned under the weight of 250 judging eyes, my mother's cruel laughter, my father's complicit silence. This was rock bottom. I thought this was the lowest point. I was wrong. Vanessa raised her glass again. Honestly, Mom is right. Sabrina is a used product, damaged goods. But hey, she shrugged with theatrical innocence, at least she is here to see how a real success story ends. The laughter swelled. And then, movement from the head table. Jonathan pushed back his chair. His jaw was tight. His eyes were fixed on Leo's small, shaking form pressed against my side. For a moment, I thought he was leaving, walking out on his own wedding. Instead, he walked directly toward the stage, toward Vanessa, toward the microphone. The laughter faltered, then died. No one knew what was about to happen, including me. Jonathan moved with purpose, his polished Oxford shoes clicking against the marble floor in the sudden silence. The string quartet had stopped playing. Guests froze mid-sip, mid-laugh, mid-whisper. Vanessa's confident smile flickered. Jonathan, baby, what are you? He did not answer. Did not even look at her. His eyes were locked on our table on Leo. My son had buried his face against my hip, his small shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He did not understand why everyone was laughing at his mommy. He just knew it hurt. Jonathan saw that, and something in his expression hardened into steel. He reached the stage in 6 strides. Vanessa was still holding the microphone, her smile frozen in confusion. Jonathan, sit down. I am not finished with my... He took the microphone from her hand. Not grabbed, not snatched. Just calmly, firmly removed it from her grip, like confiscating a dangerous object from a child. Jonathan. Vanessa's voice pitched high with alarm. What are you doing? The ballroom had gone completely silent. 250 people holding their breath. I saw my mother half-rise from her seat, her face cycling through confusion, anger, and fear. Jonathan raised the microphone to his lips. I apologize for the interruption, he said, his voice steady and clear. But there is something I need to say. He turned to look at me. Really look at me. Not through me, not past me, but directly at me. Then he turned back to face the crowd. I have spent 2 years watching how this family treats Sabrina Hayes. 2 years of dinners where she is ignored. 2 years of holidays where she is excluded. 2 years of watching her be treated as less than nothing by the people who are supposed to love her. Vanessa grabbed at his arm. "Jonathan, stop. You are embarrassing me." He stepped away from her touch. "No, Vanessa. You did that yourself." Jonathan's voice carried across the silent ballroom, steady as a courtroom closing argument. "I am a children's rights attorney. I have dedicated my career to protecting kids from family trauma, from environments that damage them, from adults who should know better." He pointed toward our table, toward Leo, still pressed against my leg, still trembling. "That little boy is 6 years old. 6. And you just made him watch 250 adults laugh at his mother. You called her unwanted. You called her damaged goods. You called her a used product." His voice cracked with barely contained fury. "In front of her child." Silence. Absolute, ringing silence. My mother's face had gone pale. My father stared at his plate. "I have spent my whole life fighting against exactly this kind of cruelty," Jonathan continued. "And I cannot become part of a family that inflicts it." He turned to Vanessa. She was frozen, her perfect makeup suddenly garish under the harsh lights, her carefully crafted facade crumbling in real time. "Jonathan, please," she whispered, the microphone catching every word. "You are overreacting. It was just a joke." "A joke?" His laugh was hollow. "You planned this. You rehearsed this. You turned your own sister's pain into entertainment." He stepped back from her, creating a visible chasm between them. "I cannot marry you, Vanessa. I will not." The collective gasp from 250 guests was audible. "And one more thing." Jonathan's eyes found Michael's phone, still recording on its tripod. "My cousin Michael has been live-streaming this reception for family members in California who could not attend. About 70 people have witnessed exactly what kind of family I almost married into." He set the microphone down on the stage with a soft thud. "I am sorry for the disruption to your evening," he said to the stunned guests. "The bar is still open. Please enjoy." Then he walked off the stage. The dam broke. Sabrina. My mother was on her feet, her Valentino gown swirling around her ankles as she stormed toward our table. Her face was twisted with rage, not at Vanessa, not at herself, but at me. "What did you do?" she hissed, jabbing a manicured finger in my direction. "What did you say to Jonathan?" "You ruined your sister's wedding." "Mom, I did not." "You have always been jealous of her." My mother's voice rose to a shriek that silenced the tentative murmurs beginning to ripple through the crowd. "You could not stand to see her happy, could you? You had to poison Jonathan against her." Vanessa had collapsed into her chair at the head table, mascara tracking down her cheeks. Her carefully constructed moment of triumph had shattered into a very public nightmare. My father appeared at my mother's side, his expression hard. "What did you tell him, Sabrina? Behind our backs? What did you say?" "I did not tell him anything. I barely spoke to him." "Liar." Vanessa's voice cut through the ballroom. She was standing now, her Vera Wang gown seeming to mock the disaster unfolding around her. "You have been trying to turn him against me since day one. You could not let me have one thing, could you? One perfect day." I felt the shift in real time. The guests who had been laughing minutes ago were now looking at me differently. Not with sympathy, but with suspicion. She must have done something. Maybe the sister provoked this. Poor Vanessa. I saw it happening. The rewriting of history right before my eyes. In a matter of minutes, I had transformed from victim to villain in the minds of 250 witnesses. And I realized if I did not leave right now, this would be my legacy. The jealous sister who destroyed her siblings' wedding forever. If you have ever been in a situation where you were blamed for something you did not do, where people twisted the truth to make you the villain, comment, "I understand, so I know I am not alone in this." And if you want to know what I did next, like this video. That is how you tell me this story is worth finishing. Now, back to that ballroom. I looked down at Leo. His face was red and blotchy from crying. His small hands were balled into fists against his chest. He was trying so hard to be brave, to understand why the world had suddenly become so loud and angry and scary. And in that moment, something shifted inside me. For 34 years, I had been the one who stayed quiet. The one who kept the peace. The one who absorbed every slight, every insult, every moment of being overlooked. Because fighting back was not worth the drama. But this was not about me anymore. This was about my son watching his mother be torn apart and doing nothing. I stood up. Not dramatically, not defiantly. Just stood. Smoothed down my gray dress, lifted Leo into my arms. I did not say anything to Jonathan, I said, my voice calm and clear. I did not need to. He has eyes. He has watched you treat me like garbage for 2 years, and tonight he finally decided he could not live with it. My mother's mouth opened and closed like a fish. You're lying, Vanessa spat. You have always been jealous, Sabrina. Since we were kids. You cannot stand that I am better than you. I did not argue. Did not defend myself. What was the point? Instead, I turned and began walking toward the exit. Behind me, I heard my mother's voice, shrill with desperation. Sabrina, you come back here and apologize to your sister right now. I did not turn around. Leo wrapped his arms around my neck, his wet cheek pressed against mine. Mommy, he whispered. Are we going home? Yes, baby. Good. A pause. I do not like it here. I know, sweetheart. I kissed his forehead as the ballroom doors loomed ahead. Neither do I. The walk from table 23 to the ballroom exit was approximately 50 feet. It felt like 50 miles. I kept my back straight, my steps measured. Leo clung to me, his face hidden against my shoulder. Around us, 250 guests sat in stunned silence, watching the drama unfold like a live theater performance they had not paid to see. I saw Jonathan standing near the doorway. He was not fleeing the scene. He was waiting. When I reached him, he stepped forward, blocking the path just long enough to speak. Sabrina. His voice was quiet, meant only for me. I am sorry. I should have said something years ago. I should have. Do not apologize. I shifted Leo on my hip. You just saved my son from watching his mother be humiliated without anyone caring. That is more than anyone in my own family has ever done. He reached into his jacket pocket and produced a business card. Simple white cardstock, professional black text, Jonathan Mercer, attorney at law, family and children's rights. If you ever need anything, legal help, a reference, anything at all, call me. Pro bono. I mean it. I took the card and tucked it into my purse. Thank you. For Leo. Behind us, I could hear Vanessa's voice rising in hysterics. My mother trying to calm her. My father issuing curt commands to the bewildered wedding planner. I did not look back. I pushed through the ornate doors into the hotel corridor, my heels clicking on the marble floor. Leo lifted his head as the noise of the ballroom faded behind us. Mommy, are you sad? I thought about the question. Really thought about it. No, baby. I am not sad. For the first time in a very long time, I realized I was not lying. How about some pancakes when we get home? His face lit up. With chocolate chips? All the chocolate chips you want. By the time I got Leo bathed, fed, and tucked into bed with his favorite stuffed dinosaur, my phone had accumulated 53 missed calls. 37 from my mother, 15 from Vanessa, 1 from my father. I scrolled through the text messages while sitting on the edge of my bed, still in my gray dress, still wearing the makeup I had so carefully applied that morning. Mom, 10:47 p.m. You ruined everything. Call me now. Mom, 10:52 p.m. Vanessa is hysterical. Jonathan left. This is all your fault. Mom, 11:15 p.m. Do not you dare ignore me. Sabrina Elizabeth Hayes. Vanessa, 11:23 p.m. I will never forgive you for this. Never. You destroyed my life. Dad, 11:45 p.m. Your mother is very upset. You need to call her. I set the phone face down on my nightstand. Then I saw a message from an unexpected number. Aunt Linda, my mother's younger sister, the one who had approached me at the reception. Aunt Linda, 12:02 a.m. Sabrina, I watched the live stream from Michael's phone. Honey, I am so sorry. I had no idea Patricia and Vanessa were capable of something like this. I am ashamed of my own sister right now. Please know that you did not do anything wrong. I am here if you need to talk. I read it twice, then a third time. It was the first acknowledgement from anyone in my family, extended or otherwise, that what happened to me was wrong. Not my fault. Not something I provoked or deserved. Wrong. The tears I had held back all night finally came. Quiet tears, the kind you cry when you are relieved and heartbroken at the same time. Someone had seen me. Really seen me. And that single text meant more than 34 years of hoping my own mother would. The screenshots arrived at 8:47 the next morning. Rachel, my best friend since nursing school, had texted at 3 a.m., "Do not read anything until you call me. Seriously, I have something you need to see." By the time I woke up, Leo happily watching cartoons in the living room, there were 21 images waiting in my messages. Rachel had prefaced them with, "A mutual friend's daughter is dating one of your cousins." She saw the family group chat. Sabrina, they planned this. I opened the first screenshot. It was a group chat titled, "Hayes Family, No Sabrina." A chat I had been removed from 8 months ago after asking why I was not invited to Christmas Eve dinner. The messages were dated 2 weeks before the wedding. "Vanessa, I have been working on my speech. I am going to call her out in front of everyone. Make her see what a disappointment she is. Mom, just do not go too far, sweetie. We do not want to seem cruel. Vanessa, Mom, she deserves it. She shows up with that kid like she is not ashamed of her life choices. Someone needs to put her in her place. Mom, you are right. She has always been an embarrassment. Just make it funny. People love a good roast. Dad, just do not mention me in it. Vanessa, trust me, she will not say anything back. She never does." I stared at the screen until the words blurred. They had planned it, orchestrated it. My mother had helped write the speech that called me a used product in front of 250 people. And my father, my quiet, passive father, had known and said nothing. Rachel's final message read, "I am so sorry, Sabrina, but you needed to know." It was not spontaneous. It was a coordinated attack. She was right. I did need to know, because now I understood there was nothing left to save. I sat with the screenshots for a long time. Leo had fallen asleep on the couch, worn out from the chaos of the night before, his small chest rising and falling in peaceful rhythm. I watched him sleep and felt something settle inside me, something clear and cold and final. For 34 years, I had been chasing something that did not exist. My mother's approval, my father's attention, my sister's respect. I had bent myself into impossible shapes, trying to earn love that was never going to come. I had accepted crumbs and called them enough. I had let them treat me like a placeholder, a supporting character in my own life story. And for what? So they could plan my public humiliation as a wedding gift to themselves. I closed the screenshots and opened a new document on my phone. I typed 2 words, "No contact." That was it. No dramatic confrontation, no tearful phone call demanding explanations, no attempt to make them understand the depth of their betrayal. Just nothing. I would stop calling, stop showing up to family events where I was only invited to be ignored. Stop hoping that someday, somehow, they would look at me and see someone worth loving. I was not going to announce it. Was not going to give them the satisfaction of a scene they could spin into more evidence of my instability or jealousy. I would simply disappear from their lives the way they had always wanted me to. Quietly, completely, permanently. My phone buzzed with another call from my mother. I declined it and blocked the number. Then Vanessa's. Blocked. Then my father's. Blocked. I looked at Leo, still sleeping peacefully, and felt something unfamiliar loosen in my chest. Not anger, not grief. Relief. "We are going to be okay, baby," I whispered to him. "I promise." They showed up 4 days later. I was just getting home from work, Leo chattering happily about the finger painting he had done at daycare, when I saw them standing on the steps of my apartment building. My mother in a cashmere coat, my father in his usual golf attire, both looking like they had taken a wrong turn into the wrong neighborhood. "Sabrina." My mother's voice was ice. "We need to talk." Leo's grip tightened on my hand. "Mommy, why is Grandma here?" "I do not know, sweetheart. Go wait inside with Mrs. Patterson. I will be right there." My elderly neighbor had already appeared in her doorway, drawn by the tension in the hallway. She gave me a knowing look and held out her hand to Leo. "Come on, honey. I just baked cookies." Once he was safely inside, I turned to face my parents. You blocked our numbers, my mother said, her voice trembling with outrage. After what you did to your sister, you blocked us. After what I did, you poisoned Jonathan against Vanessa. You destroyed her wedding. The venue is demanding full payment. The caterers will not refund a dime. Do you have any idea how much money you have cost this family? I laughed. I could not help it. A sharp, bitter sound that made my mother flinch. I did not do anything, Mom. Vanessa stood up and called me unwanted in front of 250 people. You called me a used product. Jonathan made his own decision based on what he witnessed. It was a joke. My mother threw her hands up. A harmless joke that. You humiliated me in front of my 6-year-old son. My voice dropped to a dangerous calm. He asked me why everyone was laughing at his mommy. For the first time, something flickered in my mother's eyes. Something almost like guilt. But it vanished as quickly as it came. Vanessa is devastated, my mother pressed on, her voice softening into what she probably thought was maternal concern. Jonathan will not return her calls. The wedding photos are ruined. She is talking about therapy, Sabrina. Therapy. Then maybe therapy is exactly what she needs. My mother's face reddened. How dare you? Mom. I held up a hand. I am going to say this once, and then I want you to leave. She fell silent, shock flickering across her features. In 34 years, I had never interrupted her. I did not poison Jonathan against Vanessa. I barely spoke to him. He made his choice because he watched how this family treats me, how you treat me, and decided he could not be part of it. That is not. I am not finished. The words came out steady, unflinching. You planned that speech. I have seen the group chat screenshots. You helped Vanessa decide exactly what to say. You knew she was going to humiliate me, and you encouraged it. My mother went pale. My father shifted uncomfortably, suddenly fascinated by a scuff mark on the hallway floor. Vanessa is crying, I continued. Good. Maybe now she will understand what it feels like. I have been crying since I was 12 years old, trying to figure out why my own mother looked at me like a disappointment. Sabrina, that is not fair. You called me a used product, Mom. In front of my child. In front of 250 people. And you are standing here asking me to apologize. The silence stretched between us like a chasm. I love you, I said quietly. I have spent my whole life loving you and hoping you would love me back. But I cannot do this anymore. I will not raise Leo in an environment where he learns that abuse is acceptable if it comes from family. I stepped toward my door. Please leave. If you have ever had to set a boundary with someone you loved, even when it broke your heart, comment boundaries so I know you understand. And if you want to hear what happened next, keep watching, because what I am about to tell you proves something important. Sometimes walking away is the most powerful thing you can do. Let me take you back to that hallway. My mother's face cycled through a dozen emotions in 3 seconds. Disbelief, rage, hurt, calculation. Before landing on her weapon of choice, tears. Sabrina, her voice cracked artfully. You are going to regret this. When I am gone someday, you will wish you had been a better daughter. The guilt trip. Classic Patricia Hayes. A year ago, it would have worked. 6 months ago, it would have made me apologize. Even a week ago, I might have hesitated. But that was before she laughed at her own daughter being called worthless. Before she added her own knife to the wound. Before I watched my son's face crumble as his grandmother made his mother into a punchline. Maybe I said. Or maybe I will look back and know that I protected my child from the same damage you did to me. The door to Mrs. Patterson's apartment opened. Leo peeked out, cookie crumbs on his chin. Mommy, are you coming? I smiled at him. A real smile, warm and sure. Yes, baby. 1 minute. My mother lunged toward him, arms outstretched. Leo, sweetheart, come give Grandma a hug. I stepped between them. Not aggressively, but firmly. No. The word hung in the air like a slap. He is my grandson, and he is my son. And I decide who gets access to him. My father finally spoke, his voice gruff with discomfort. Sabrina, your mother is upset. Let us all just calm down and... Goodbye, Dad. I took Leo's hand and guided him toward our apartment door. At the threshold, I turned back one last time. My mother was crying. Real tears now, or close enough. My father stood helplessly beside her. I am not doing this to punish you, I said. I am doing this because I finally understand that I deserve better than what you have given me. Then I closed the door and locked it. The video spread faster than my mother could contain it. Within a week, it had made the rounds through the extended Hayes family. Cousins, aunts, uncles, second cousins I had never met, all passing it along like evidence in a trial. Aunt Linda called me on a Tuesday evening. Sabrina, I just got off the phone with your Uncle Robert in Sacramento. He saw the live stream. He used words I will not repeat about your mother and Vanessa. I did not ask anyone to share it. You did not have to. Michael sent it to his mother, who sent it to her bridge club, who sent it to everyone else. Honey, you know how family gossip works. I did. It was the same network that had spread rumors about my divorce, my failure to keep a husband, my status as the family disappointment. Now that network was working in my favor. Your mother tried to call me yesterday, Aunt Linda continued. Wanted me to help manage the narrative. And? I told her the narrative managed itself the moment she opened her mouth in front of 250 witnesses and a camera. Despite everything, I felt a small, unexpected spark of satisfaction. How's Vanessa? Aunt Linda hesitated. Not good. Jonathan has officially ended things. His family sent back the engagement gifts with a letter from their lawyer. Something about irreconcilable value differences. Professional courtesy wrapped around devastating rejection. And your mother? Aunt Linda sighed. She has been calling everyone, trying to explain that it was just a joke that got out of hand. But people saw the video, Sabrina. They heard her. No amount of spin changes what they witnessed with their own eyes. I thought about my mother, desperately dialing relatives, trying to rebuild a reputation she had destroyed in 30 seconds of gleeful cruelty. Let her spin, I said quietly. I am done explaining myself to people who do not want to understand. Vanessa tried damage control 2 weeks after the wedding. She posted a lengthy statement on Facebook, carefully worded, professionally crafted, probably reviewed by a PR friend. I want to address the misunderstanding at my wedding. What was intended as light-hearted family humor was taken out of context by those who do not understand our dynamic. My sister Sabrina and I have always had a playful relationship, and I am heartbroken that a private family moment was twisted into something malicious by outside parties with their own agendas. It continued for 6 paragraphs, never once apologizing, never once acknowledging what she had actually said. The comment section became a battlefield. Vanessa, I have seen the video. There was nothing playful about it. You literally called your sister unwanted, and your mom called her used goods. How is that a misunderstanding? The video is still circulating. We can all see exactly what happened. Girl, this ain't it. Own your mistake. Rachel sent me screenshots of the meltdown, though I had already muted everything related to my family. She is getting destroyed, Rachel texted. Her coworkers are asking questions. Someone said her boss called a meeting about professional conduct outside the workplace. I did not feel triumphant. I did not feel vindicated. Mostly, I felt tired. A few days later, I heard through Aunt Linda that Jonathan's mother had called my mother directly. She said, and I am quoting here, I did not raise my son to marry into a family of bullies. You should be ashamed of yourselves. Mrs. Mercer, a retired family court judge, had seen enough dysfunction in her career to recognize it instantly. Vanessa had lost her fiancé. Her reputation was crumbling. Her job was under scrutiny. And I had not done anything. I had not needed to. The truth had been enough. Jonathan called me 4 weeks after the wedding. I almost did not answer. The number was not saved in my phone, and I had become wary of unfamiliar callers, but something made me pick up. Sabrina, it is Jonathan Mercer. I sat down on my couch, pulling a blanket over my legs. Leo was asleep in the next room, and the apartment was quiet. Jonathan, hi. I hope I am not overstepping by calling. I wanted to apologize. You already apologized at the hotel. Not properly. He exhaled, and I heard exhaustion in his voice. I watched your family treat you like dirt for 2 years. 2 years, Sabrina. And I told myself it was not my place to say anything. That Vanessa would grow out of it. That they were just difficult. You did not know how bad it was. I knew enough. His voice hardened with self-recrimination. I am a children's rights attorney. I have built my career on recognizing toxic family dynamics. And I stood by and let it happen because I was in love with someone who did not deserve that love. I did not know what to say to that. The rawness of his confession left me speechless. That night, he continued when I saw Leo's face. God, Sabrina, that little boy watching his mother be destroyed for entertainment. I could not stay silent anymore. You did not just stay silent. You ended your own wedding. It was the right thing to do. The only thing. He paused. I meant what I said about legal help. If you ever need assistance with custody issues, or if your family tries to harass you, anything, I will help. No strings. No charge. Why? Because your son deserves to have someone in his corner. And so do you. I felt tears prick my eyes, but they were not sad tears. Thank you, Jonathan. For everything. 6 months passed. Strange how life rebuilds itself when you remove the people who kept tearing it down. I received a promotion at work, senior charge nurse in the ER department. My supervisor called me into her office on a random Tuesday and said, Sabrina, your patient satisfaction scores are the highest in the unit. You are calm under pressure. You are compassionate. And you are exactly the kind of leader we need. Congratulations. I cried in the bathroom afterward. Happy tears, the kind that sneak up on you when you are finally starting to believe you might be worth something. Leo started first grade in September. He made friends quickly. A chatty little boy named Oliver and a quiet girl named Sophie who shared his obsession with dinosaurs. His teacher sent home a note after the first month. Leo is a joy to have in class. He is kind, curious, and always willing to help others. My apartment was still small. 1 bedroom, a kitchenette, creaky radiators. But it was ours. I hung Leo's artwork on every wall, crayon dinosaurs and finger-painted rainbows and a wobbly portrait labeled Mommy in purple marker. It looked like home. I started therapy once a week. 50 minutes, unpacking 34 years of being told I was not enough. Dr. Chin, a soft-spoken woman with kind eyes, helped me understand that the problem had never been me. You were the scapegoat in a family system that needed someone to blame, she explained during our 3rd session. Your worth was never determined by their inability to see it. I also started dating again. Casually, carefully. A nurse from the pediatric unit asked me to coffee, then dinner. Nothing serious, but the idea that someone might want to know me, the real me, felt revolutionary. For the first time in my life, I was not waiting for permission to be happy. I was just happy. The attempts at contact came in waves. First, a birthday card for Leo, arriving 2 weeks late with no return address, though I recognized my mother's handwriting. Inside, a $100 bill and a note to our grandson. We miss you. I put the money in Leo's college savings account and recycled the card. Then a text from an unknown number, Vanessa using a friend's phone. Sabrina, we need to talk. I have been doing a lot of thinking. Call me. I did not call. A few weeks later, a voicemail from my mother, her voice pitched in that particular tone of wounded victimhood she had perfected over decades. Sabrina, this has gone on enough. Family is family. You cannot just cut us out forever. I am your mother. Do not I deserve a chance to explain? I deleted it without finishing. The hardest one came from my father. He showed up at my workplace, something he had never done in the 9 years I had been a nurse. I found him waiting in the lobby, looking uncomfortable and out of place among the worried families and beeping equipment. 5 minutes, he said when I approached. Please. We stepped outside into the gray November afternoon. Your mother is struggling, he said. She cries every day. Vanessa will not leave her room. The family Thanksgiving was. He trailed off. Was what, Dad? Empty. He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw something I had never seen in his eyes before. Regret. I know what happened was not right. The admission seemed to cost him something. But Sabrina, your mother loves you in her own way. She does not know how to. Dad. I cut him off gently but firmly. I spent 34 years waiting for Mom to love me in a way that did not hurt. I cannot wait anymore. And I will not let Leo grow up waiting, too. He nodded slowly, something crumbling behind his eyes. "I understand," he said quietly. And for the first time, I believed he did. Today, as I record this, it has been 9 months since my sister's wedding. I am sitting in our little apartment, Leo asleep in the next room, his nightlight casting dinosaur shadows on the ceiling. Tomorrow is his 7th birthday. I've got a homemade cake in the fridge, chocolate with too much frosting, just the way he likes it, and a second-hand bike waiting in my neighbor's storage unit wrapped in a bow I tied 3 times to get right. I got my promotion. I am seeing someone, Michael, the pediatric nurse, who tells me I am beautiful and means it in a way I have never heard before. I have friends who show up, a therapist who helps me unpack decades of damage, and an aunt who calls every Sunday just to check in. And I have my son. Last week, Leo brought home a picture from school. It was a family tree assignment, and while most kids drew grandparents and cousins and sprawling networks of relatives, Leo had drawn just 2 figures. A tall woman with brown hair, a small boy beside her holding her hand. "That is our family, Mommy," he said proudly. "Just us." I hung it on the refrigerator, right at eye level. My mother has not stopped trying to reach me. Neither has Vanessa. I get the occasional message through relatives, the rare handwritten letter that goes straight into the trash. I do not hate them. That is the strange part. I spent so long being angry at the favoritism, the cruelty, the 1,000 small cuts of growing up invisible. But somewhere along the way, the anger faded into something quieter. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, just peace. I chose myself. I chose my son. And that choice, hard as it was, saved us both. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away. If you had told me a year ago that I would cut off my entire family, I would have laughed or cried. Probably both. I grew up believing that family was everything, that blood ties were unbreakable, that love meant enduring whatever treatment you received, because that is what daughters do. Good daughters. Loyal daughters. I was wrong. Family should be a safe place. A space where you are celebrated, not tolerated. Where your presence is welcomed, not weaponized. Where your children can grow up knowing they are enough, exactly as they are. My family was not that. My family was a performance. And I was always cast as the understudy. Here is what I have learned. Setting boundaries is not selfish. It is not cold. It is not abandoning the people who hurt you. It is recognizing, finally, clearly, that you deserve better than what you have been given. You do not owe your loyalty to people who do not respect you. Not your mother, not your father, not your sister, not anyone. I used to think staying quiet made me strong. That absorbing every insult, every comparison, every public humiliation somehow proved my worth. Look how much I can take. Look how resilient I am. But silence is not strength. Not when it is born from fear. Not when it costs you your self-respect. Real strength is walking away. Real strength is choosing yourself. Real strength is looking your mother in the eye and saying, "I deserve better than this." Leo will grow up knowing that his worth is not determined by how much criticism he can endure. He will learn that boundaries are not walls, they are doors you get to control. He will understand that love does not look like public mockery or strategic cruelty or jokes designed to wound. That is my legacy. Not the Hayes family name. Just a mother who chose her son and herself. For those wondering what happened to everyone else, here is what I know. Vanessa started therapy, according to Aunt Linda. Real therapy, with a licensed professional, working through issues that apparently run deeper than anyone realized. I do not know the details, and I do not need to. I hope she finds whatever she is looking for. I hope she becomes someone capable of genuine kindness. But that is not my journey to witness. My mother continues to call me difficult and unforgiving to anyone who will listen. She has rewritten the story so thoroughly that some relatives believe the wedding incident was my fault. That I provoked Vanessa. That Jonathan was always unstable. That the whole thing was blown out of proportion. I do not correct them. The people who matter know the truth. My father sent me a text a few weeks ago. Just 3 words, "I am sorry." No explanation. No excuses. No request to reconcile. I read it. Sat with it for a long time. Then I put my phone down and went about my day. Maybe someday I will respond. Maybe I will not. Healing is not linear, and forgiveness is not a requirement. Aunt Linda has become the family I always needed. She drives down from Hartford every other month to take Leo to the Children's Museum, loads me up with Tupperware of homemade soup, and never once pressures me to give your mother another chance. Family is who shows up, she told me once over coffee in my cramped kitchen. Not who shares your last name. She was right. Jonathan Mercer sent Leo a dinosaur encyclopedia for his birthday. No note, no strings, just a gift from someone who remembered a scared little boy and wanted to make him smile. Small kindnesses. They add up. They mean more than 250 laughing guests ever could. So that is my story. A wedding that became a funeral, not for a marriage, but for 34 years of trying to earn love that was never coming. A 6-year-old boy who taught his mother that some people are worth fighting for and some are not. A choice to walk away, not in defeat, but in victory. I am not telling you this because I want pity. I stopped needing pity somewhere between the 47th missed call and the first morning I woke up without dreading my phone. I am telling you this because I know I am not alone. Some of you watching this have mothers who look through you, sisters who compete instead of celebrate, fathers who stay silent when they should speak up, family gatherings that feel like minefields. Some of you have already walked away. Some of you are still trying to figure out how. And some of you are still hoping, like I did for so long, that if you just try harder, love better, make yourself smaller, eventually they will see your worth. They will not. Not because you are not worthy. Because they cannot. And that is not your failure to fix. Thank you for listening to my story. If it resonated with you, if you have ever had to set boundaries with someone you loved, ever had to choose yourself over family expectations, ever wondered if you were strong enough to walk away, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. I have more stories to tell, and I think some of them might help you too. Check out the description for another video about setting boundaries with toxic family members. And if you are comfortable, drop a comment. Have you ever had to cut someone off for your own peace? I would love to hear your stories too. You are not alone in this. None of us are.